Welcome to Story Punk. I am Scott.
And I am Drew.
And today we are here to talk about the movie Ready or Not. And we've wrapped up our international theme month for June with hopefully everyone enjoyed our RRR had to get that. Enjoyed that one and that episode from last week. And we're doing a theme for this month. It's a goofy one. I've dubbed this Psycho Summer for July, where it's movies where everyone wants to kill the protagonist. So today we're doing Ready or Not, and we're actually this is the first time we've ever done this. We are doing the sequel. We've never done a movie and its sequel back to back. Have we ever done?
Well, look, we started this show 10 years ago, and it took 7 years for them to go from Ready or Not to Ready or Not 2. So I think it's okay if things need to age.
No, but I think it's interesting. I don't think we've ever. I know we've never done obviously a movie and its sequel back to back, but I don't know if we ever done. I don't know. We did do the. If it's all considered part of the same franchise, we did do. Predator Badlands, and
that's true.
And the what was the animated one called?
Killer of Killers.
Yeah, Killer of Killers.
And I'm still down to do Prey. So
yes, that is a good one. I wouldn't mind doing that as well.
Dan Trachtenberg announced his next movie, and I don't remember what it is, and I remember it looking interesting, but it's not Predator.
But isn't it some franchise? I'm trying to think. Be. I thought it was. Anyway,
he can. The way he does franchise, I'm down with it. It's fine.
Yeah. So anyway, so. Ready or Not? Why don't I just I'll give a brief summary of this one, which is, in case you're not familiar with, I think a lot of people are familiar with.
And just to be clear, you had not seen this movie before now.
I had not seen either one of these movies, but this movie is on a bride's wedding night. It takes a sinister turn when her eccentric new in-laws force her to take part in a terrifying version of hide and seek.
Eccentric is very generous.
Yeah, eccentric. Yeah. Well, I think that's a good catch-all. This movie is directed by Matt Bettinelli-Olpin, I think, and then and I'm assuming that's Tyler. Is it Gillett?
I think so.
Okay. They're actually known as Radio Silence. Mm-hmm. That's what they go by. They have directed some of their other movies, Scream 7 and Abigail. I'm actually interested to see Abigail. That's the one with the little girl vampire.
If you liked this movie,
yeah, you
will like Abigail.
Okay.
Abigail is fun. Like this movie, especially when it comes to the ending, the less that you know, the better. You already know the basic twist because the way they marketed it. But you don't know.
I don't actually. Let me tell you what I know about. All I know about Abigail is that it's a group of people that come in to get. And I might be wrong, so don't even correct me.
I won't.
I just know I think they're hired to go take care of this young girl vampire. That's all I know. So don't tell me.
Most of that is wrong.
Dan Stevens. Okay, good. Mm-hmm. I know that Dan Stevens is in it. Mm-hmm. What's his face? The guy who's actually in Ready or Not 2, who was also in Lost. The big guy who looks like
Kevin Durant.
A scary version. Yes, the scary version of Elon Musk.
Catherine Newton is in it. She's also in Ready or Not 2.
Yes, and is it Giancarlo Esposito in it? Isn't he? Abigail, I thought.
Is he in it? Yes, he is.
He's always a.
It's a great cast. It's I don't know. I think that these directors have a lot of fun with actors, and I also think that they know their lane.
Yeah.
And I thought Abigail was a blast.
Okay.
And
I think if you like,
on the basic level, I liked both of these movies that we're going to talk about in the next episode. But I think Abigail fits right in with them, so it was fun.
Our main character is it's Samara Weaving, who is the niece of Hugo Weaving,
That's right.
Agent Smith.
Elrond.
It's so funny because I love when I hear stories or see people are so unassuming and like I don't even say it's humble. Not that it's a situation where they're humble, but they're just like I saw her in an interview, and she talked about her uncle. Like, we might not know who he is, and she's like, "So my uncle, he was in The Matrix, and he was also in because was it Lord of the Rings? Or he was, and she was talking about like he was like had some minor part in these movies, and it was very, and I love that. That reminds me of a story, and this is just a really brief aside that I know when John Travolta shot a movie. here in Baltimore. It was like it was a firehouse movie, whatever.
Was that called Ladder 49?
I think it was. Yeah. And he, a friend of our family is a deacon, which is basically it's like. For those that are Catholic, it's like a priest light. He met John Travolta. They were shooting a scene in a church, and like John Travolta went up to him and said, "Hi, my name's John." Like we don't like not everybody in the world like doesn't know who John Travolta is. He was just like, "Hi, I'm John," and this friend of the family was like, "Because I know who you are."
Yep. No, I've heard stories about John Travolta, and I've known people, not for a long time now, but I've known people that have worked for him, and they were like, he is just a really sweet guy who is, and this is not a criticism of him, who's so protected from what's essentially the real world by his success and the people who look after him. Like, I get the impression of him in a good way. He's like a little kid. He's like, I want to have a house, and my house will have an airstrip, and I'll have my 707 airliner that I can fly. And when there's a disaster like Katrina or whatever, my wife and we will load up with supplies. We will fly. Like, it's a sweet thing, you know. I mean, and he's supposed to be a nice guy. So I think that if you meet somebody like that, and not that he's like a child or something, but if you meet somebody like that and I don't know, they're just modest. It's like hearing about like Chow Yun-Fat. Yeah. He was doing this on his American movies too, that he introduces himself to everyone. Yeah. Like The Grip and everybody. And that I'm sure there are people who see that and go, "Oh, it's just a put on," and other people are like, "Well, that's really nice." Yeah. And John Travolta is supposed to be one of the good ones. So
yeah, and I was like, we were talking about Giancarlo Esposito. I actually had an interaction with him when I worked on the last season of Homicide as production assistant, and production assistant.
Was that Homicide: Life on the Street?
Yes, Homicide: Life on the Street. That should be clear. But if you know anything about, production, that is a, production assistant is the, that's the bottom of the rung, and he was very nice to be joking around, like. Just he was just a very cool guy, and I always like to hear. I love when I hear those kinds of stories because it's like. You have people that are, they don't have to be that way. Anyway,
especially since he plays genuinely terrifying people.
He does well, and that he was playing the police chief's, he was the son of
Yaphet Kotto's character. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But so he wasn't so maybe he wasn't in terrifying mode. But he seems like a pretty.
I don't know. He seemed pretty upset when John Savage bumped his sneaker and do the right thing.
He did. And also he's the one that complains about the pictures in Sal's, right? There's no black people on the wall, famous black people on the wall.
Yeah, he's one of the people that complains.
Oh, yeah, I couldn't remember. Yeah. Anyway, so enough about nice celebrities. She seems the interview I saw. I just thought that was it was kind of sweet that she was like, "Oh yeah, you might know my uncle." I'm like, everybody knows who Agent Smith is.
Yeah. Also,
anyway.
I mean, Hugo Weaving has been around for a long time. I remember the first thing I saw him in, and I thought he was great, was Adventures of Priscilla, Queen of the Desert.
Oh yeah,
which I haven't seen in a long time. But you look at that movie, and it's like, who are the three main characters? It's Hugo Weaving, Guy Pearce, and Terrence Stamp, which is the most ridiculous combination. And I mean, Terrence Stamp was already somebody, but Guy Pearce and Hugo Weaving have gone on to be in a few things. So, she's of good lineage, I guess. There's nothing about, I don't know what her story is, but there's nothing about her that feels like Nepo baby or anything, because I think she's become, I don't know if you've seen her in other stuff. She's been in a lot of like good, entertaining horror movies and violent movies, and frankly, in stuff that shouldn't be good, like McGee's babysitter movies. Those are really fun, and she's really fun in them. So like, I was like, oh, McGee still gets to make movies. That's nice. And then I saw that a while ago, and I was like, oh, this is actually really fun. So I feel like casting her and building the movie around her made a lot of sense, because she's got she's a fine actress. She's fun as a horror actress. She's got really this distinct scream. Yeah. You believe her as, I'm terrified, I'm running for my life, but you also believe her as, I'm going to have to step up and look out for myself. And also when a child shoots her in the hand and then she punches the child in the face, it's so satisfying.
Also in this movie, we have Adam Brody and Andy McDowell. Mm-hmm.
Excellent cast.
They from what I heard, that those two were actually intentionally cast because they are. I know Adam Brody has played some bad guys in the past. I think overall he has a more of a nice guy vibe
Okay.
to him, and Andy McDowell also, and that was part of their casting choice for them, was that they were known as more like like nice people, and so they wanted there was sort of an intentional choice to choose them because of sort of their nice persona.
Well, she's also had some interesting. Andy McDowell has had some interesting roles in the later part of her career, showing up in stuff like Magic Mike and showing up in this. And I mean, she's not. I mean, I think I remember as I saw this in the theater. I think I remember thinking there would be more Andy McDowell.
Sure.
And there's not enough or too much or anything. She's great. But to me, this movie, if you don't take Samara Weaving from the movie as like this is the biggest performance, Henry Czerny as the dad. I love him anyway, and they use him perfectly because he is the patriarch of this family that are wealthy and aware of their wealth and protecting it and everything, but you don't know who they are yet at the beginning. But you're already, I don't want to hang out with them.
He always plays like the two main roles I always think of him as in the first Mission Impossible and
the last one.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen that one, but
it's fun seeing him
that
again.
one, and then also. What was the Jack Ryan one with was it Patriot Games? I think it was. He's in that too, and he always plays. And this is actually why what I liked about him in this role in this movie is that he always plays like sort of like this guy, this like no nonsense authority figure, and I feel like he kind of does it, but I feel like they tweak it a little bit to make it it's almost a little humorous. Like
he's very funny in this,
and I don't really remember seeing him ever do anything that kind of any kind of like anything that's comedic at all, and that was kind of a good turn.
Well, he also ends up like he's in Clear and Present Danger and in the A-Team.
Maybe that's the one I'm thinking.
Yeah, and he's in the A-Team. He often plays like an authority figure.
Yeah, but he's always like no nonsense. Like he's like.
But also, there's always something else going on, which is why he's fun in the Mission Impossible movies. He's in the last two and the first one, and it's funny because of course he's in the last two because that's when they start bringing all these things together and pretending that they're all connected, which is stupid and doesn't ruin the movies for me. But it's, I mean, to see him back at that, he's just a lot of fun.
So
that might actually be the first movie I remember really seeing him in.
What, the Mission Impossible?
If I think of Henry Czerny, I think of him. I think of him in this movie. I think of him shot at a low Brian De Palma angle in Mission Impossible.
That's exactly what I think.
Or I think of him in
him in that restaurant with Tom Cruise.
Exactly before the tank breaks and the fish tank, not a vehicle. He's also in Fido, the zombie movie. Which is pretty fun. So yeah, he's a good time. He's like you want a weird dad? Let's do Henry Czerny.
And he plays like the the sort of the authority figure, that patriarchal figure in a wealthy family. Totally, like I don't think he has to do much to sell that.
No. I don't know his background, but I definitely believe him. He's in stuff like Ice Storm. I'm looking at his list. I mean, he's been working for a long time and been doing interesting stuff and a lot of TV and. So he was a good. The casting is very good in all the movies that these guys make.
Yeah. The excuse me. The some of the thematic take, and I think that the themes are very like strong in this, and I feel like this was interesting when this movie came out. This came out the same year as Parasite, and what was the other and Knives Out.
Mm-hmm.
They all came out at the same time, and there was sort of like this the wealth inequality kind of like I think there's that in all three of these movies.
Mm-hmm.
I think there is in this movie. I think it's sort of highlighting the dehumanizing effect that generational wealth will have, like on these these people that are born into this wealth, and sort of how that can sort of distort your view of people that are not in that same that same level as you consider yourself to be at. It was sort of like I was talking about. I think one of the other I can't remember if we talked about it on the podcast or if it was before, where they did that experiment where they had a Monopoly game, and they gave some of the players twice as much. They started up with twice as much money, and the way that those players reacted and as the game went on, started talking about how they felt, that they were better at the game. And it was like, but yeah, you started out with twice as much money as everybody else. And it was just like, it was an interesting, like,
that's the whole born on third base and thinks you hit a triple. Sure.
And it's like, oh yeah, well, look, I'm just better at this game. And it's like, well, yeah, well, that happens when you start out with a lot more than everybody else. And there is, so like I was saying, it's sort of like you look at the people that aren't at the same level as you. There's definitely they're not even in this case. It's not even like they're human. They're just fodder for whatever. I love how the idea of this whole thing is that the Domas, the Domas family, their whole fortune exists, and this is part of the. I don't know if I would say this. Maybe I guess you would say it's the silliness of it, but is that their whole fortune exists because their ancestor made a deal with the devil? It's kind
that's what I mean. Spoilers, but that's what they're operating under, and so the great aunt, who's the oldest one, she's like, "This is 100% true, and we have to do murder." And some of the younger generations are like, "I've seen what happens. I've seen us kill people. I've seen us do awful things. Is this even real?" And of course, Samara Weaving's character is like, what are you talking about? That's not real. That's ridiculous. Which is why the ending of the movie, by the time you get to the end of the movie, you know these are bad people and you want her to live, and if they end up dying and suffering, that's fine. But you really don't know, like, is the supernatural stuff real?
Yeah.
And when the movie finally reveals itself as that, it's, I don't know. To me, this was one of those, I saw the ads, it looked good, I wanted to see it in the theater, and it was just so much better than I thought it was going to be. Like District 9 for me in the theater, like just a really pleasant surprise. And I've returned to it over the years a few times, and again for this, and I just think it's fun. Yeah. The movie is just fun. It's nasty, it's gory, it's not for everybody, but it's just really fun. And I'm not surprised that they made a sequel. I'm sorry that it took so long to make a sequel, and we'll talk about that later. But I don't know. Every time I've gone back, I've really enjoyed revisiting all these characters, most of whom are shitty people.
This deal that they make, the family makes this deal with this I guess it's, I forget how far back it was, but the one of the in the line, what I don't know if it's a great grandfather or
something
whoever
like
makes a deal with this Mr. LaBelle, and he, this is sort of that whole pact is sort of a metaphor for how generational wealth is often tied to like violence, exploitation, or some type of unethical origins, and
the only way in is marriage, basically.
Yeah, and but basically, the family's fortune literally only exists because their ancestors agreed to sacrifice others.
Right, they sold their soul.
Yeah, and so I was looking and some of the stuff, and you may be able to speak on this more than I can. The LaBelle is actually an anagram for I don't know how to say this. It's Belial.
There's Belial, who's the devil, and a word for the devil in Hebrew, and there's also like Baal, which is another way to say demon. So it could be the devil. It could be a more generic demon. I read it as absolutely a supernatural demon. As to whether it's the devil or not, I mean, it's basically Robert Johnson. It's at the crossroads. It's that kind of thing. Except that at least Robert Johnson was like, I'm going to be good at music. These people are just like, I'm going to be having money. Ow! I'm going to be having money. Stop biting me. I'm going to be having money. Speaking of demons, I love you, kitty.
Yeah, I know, but it's funny because they were saying, so it is basic, but I mean, I do think that the Mr. LaBelle character is supposed to be some kind of personification of like ultimate evil devil figure, and it's obviously not subtle, but I think that falls in line with this type of movie. This isn't the type of movie that's supposed to be like
well, also he seemed, I mean, other than the whole I need you to sacrifice for me when I ask you to, he seems pretty cool. Like he likes games and fun.
Give her the nod at the end.
Yeah, I mean that's it, and her reaction to that is whoa, which is like that just happened kind of vibe. And I don't know, she's just such a fun hero in this movie.
Yeah, she is. I also think that one of the things that there's sort of like a thematic takeaway here is that there is the complicity of those willing to serve power structures that they don't control. And because you see that there, a lot of the, especially like the people that are kind of like married into this family, they're like, okay, because you saw who was it was one of the
well, Adam Brody's wife is the one who's she's I'm not going back to whatever. And it's funny because when you say like I'm not going back in this world, like was she like a homeless girl on the street being exploited, or did she just live in some fucking boring house in the suburbs and didn't get to take a lot of vacations or have a butler? Like, it doesn't matter. They're living in a stratospheric life.
Yeah.
That the people who join it later, especially in the later generations, they're like, I'll do anything. Like, they're more than happy to like, let's hunt and kill this new blonde woman. And that's Adam Brody's wife. Adam Brody's a blood son of Henry Czerny, and he's reluctant. He's the brother of the groom.
Yes.
So,
that's the whole thing. And I guess I don't know if we actually clarified this part. Is that so? The idea is that once you marry into this family on your wedding night, the person who is marrying into the family has to draw a card from this deck. It's a whole ritual. They draw a card
at midnight,
and they play a game. Now, it could be as simple as some kind of simple game.
It's literally any game is just the game except for one.
Yeah, and the only that there is, if they get the
they can play chess or whatever, but hide and seek is the problem.
Is the card that you don't want to draw, because that is the one that where they actually hunt you and they have to kill you before dawn.
I presume that was an alternate title for this movie. I'm glad they went with Ready or Not. It's a little more distinctive. So.
What was the
hide and seek?
The hide and seek sounds like a little too. Yeah, that sounds like 1 a.m.
Yeah, and it could have been like ultra rich. Blech. That's more the subject than the title. So.
So the thing about it is this is probably a strength, but also a little bit of a weakness for me when it comes to sort of the plot of this. The plot is very simple because it's basically. She draws this card and she has to play this game and she has to survive until dawn. So it's not very complex. And it's also, but I feel like, so then that way you have like your characters can kind of, when you don't have everybody trying to, when you don't have to waste time with your characters trying to give a lot of exposition, then you can kind of flesh them out a little bit more. And it's also interesting to see how much, these characters, you get to see how far they're going to go to protect, how far they're going to go to protect their privilege. And that's sort of demonstrated over the course of the movie. And I just think that this is it's a good in one respect. I think the downside was that I did feel like, because personally, and without getting too much into spoiling my opinions for the sequel, is that one of the things I appreciated a little bit more about the second movie was that I feel like the world building was a little bit weak. Like, I kind of got the basic idea, but it was like I felt like I wanted some more. And
well, that's what the sequel gives you, I guess.
And that's why I did appreciate that more, like the kind of fleshing out, because I do think when you get to the end of this movie, and I had the experience of watching the movies basically within a couple of days of each other,
but in order.
In order within a couple of days of each other.
Well, my friend watched Furiosa. And then I said, what do you think about the changes that it made from Fury Road? Because it's a prequel. And he's like, I haven't seen Fury Road. So we watched it immediately after. Timeline. Yeah, I was like, don't do that. It's too late now.
But I feel like with this with there's another demon.
She's frisky this morning.
So
play hide and seek. I'll come and find you.
But with this movie, I felt like I did kind of like I had some questions. I feel like actually after seeing the second movie, I kind of appreciate the first movie a little bit more.
Okay.
Because I was like, okay, so I kind of understand where what the sort of like the full picture is, and the when I was watching the movie for the first time, I was kind of like, I just feel like I had a lot of questions, And I was like, well, how does this all work? And and then of course the second one kind of addresses a lot of that.
It's funny you say that because I didn't feel any of that was missing, because I was just like, this family, they're a family. They made a deal with a demon. They're awful, and go.
Yeah.
And the sequel gives you a framework which is, I mean, the whole point isn't that one family rules the world. The whole point is the oligarchs rule the world. So there are other oligarchs, but of course they're also all families.
Yeah.
So it's not, when they introduce in the sequel the idea that, hey, this isn't the only family and this is how they're organized and all that, that's not like surprising or anything.
No.
It's like, if you discovered there was another council of people who smoked cigarettes in the X-Files that was in charge of 4 other councils of cigarette smoking people in the X-Files, you'd go, oh, okay, well, that's who runs the world. Like, it's not a shocking expansion or something. But this movie, I think the scale of it was just right, which is it's a bottle movie. It's one location from the beginning to the end, and the stakes are very clear, and the danger is not clear, especially at the beginning, at all, to the main character, and when we learn it as she learns it. And it's also, I mean, the consequences of the violence. This movie is quite gory. She puts her hand on a nail, which thank goodness goes through the bullet hole, like that kind of shit. Like, it's just gross.
It was very stressful, like, because knowing what I knew.
You mean the experience of watching it was stressful?
Well, I'm going to explain. So when since I had seen the trailer and I knew what was going to happen in the movie, I was very stressful knowing, I don't know what it is. I don't know if she's just a charismatic type person or whatever, but I was very quickly nervous for her, knowing that the character had no idea what was coming up, and that she's just like, oh, this is a silly game or whatever. And like the whole time I'm sitting there like, oh man,
you're in trouble.
You don't even know. And it was actually really like bothering me. Like, I was like, ugh. It was a just like that she didn't know. She just thought she was just playing this in this, even to the point where she draws the card and you could see the looks on everyone's face. The other people in the family know what this actually means, and she has no idea, and she's just hiding in that dumbwaiter. And I'm like, oh my god. And it was like, how are they gonna, like, I was trying to think how are they going to convincingly, like, how is she going to get out of that first situation where she figures out that, this is really serious?
When she realizes the trouble she's in,
Yeah. So, I mean, I think they did a good job of that, because I was kind of like, I mean, most people, if they were found themselves in this situation and they had no idea, they'd probably be dead, like, within 5 minutes.
Right. That's another thing that I think is good. She's a credible badass.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not that late in the movie after she realizes she's in trouble, and it's not that long after she realizes in trouble. She's like, I just got married. This is my big special day. I have to rip my wedding dress off and change my shoes. Like, literally rip the bottom of my gown off so that I can move. Like, she's ready to go. And we learn a little bit more about her later.
This family's incredibly incompetent too.
Well, that's true. But I mean, she's got a history of being able to survive some rough stuff, which I didn't need explained in the sequel. You learn more about it. You meet her sister and stuff. But I don't know. I found the evil credible. I found her gumption credible. I found the range of commitment to the evil in the family credible. I found Adam Brody being like, just I'll help you because we're bad, so I'll help you, after really not helping her and bringing her back and all that kind of stuff. And I also like that they did, because there are people who work for this family, of course. And in some of these stories, those are the people who do all the dirty work. This family definitely, because the demon wants them to, they do their own dirty work too. But there's like there's 3 women that the family accidentally executes.
Yeah.
One of them gets killed in the dumbwaiter, and it's like, that. Well, these are like their servers or maids or something like that. But then there's that guy Stevens, who's like their fixer basically. And he's a good character because he is trouble, and he also is very loyal. But I don't even know if he knows what he's loyal to. I don't know that he's in on the family demon thing. He's just clearly got a comfortable life that very wealthy people give him. And so if that means I have to kidnap people and kill them, like that, when they watch him get in a car accident on the video, when she sits up in the back seat and they're yelling for him and he can't hear because he's playing music. It's like, that's just really fun. And that's a good action stunt scene too.
So the 2 guys that wrote the screenplay, they also wrote Final Destination Bloodlines, and they also wrote the screenplay.
Did you see that? That movie is such a good time. It is so nasty.
Okay, so let me tell you, I was watching like I don't know, it was YouTube or something like that, and I started watching this thing, it was one of those things where it's like they're narrating like something from some movie, and I had no idea. It was Final Destination Bloodlines, where they basically went through the whole movie. It was like a real quick, like paced, like thing, and I was like, "Oh wait a minute, is this that movie that just came out?" Like, so I was like, so most of the movie's like spoiled, but I understand the basic idea of the movie. So I technically didn't see it, but I was like, it caught my interest enough. Like I was watching it, and I had no idea that I was actually watching the movie, because it was just somebody basically doing a summary of the movie. And then I was like, oh, this looks interesting. So the guy, his name's Guy Busick. He wrote Final Destination Bloodlines, and also Scream 7. The other writer.
Have you seen the most recent Scream movies?
I have. You know what? I haven't. Honestly, I don't think I've watched anything after the second.
Because I had a good time with Scream 6. A lot of fun actually with Scream 6, which starred, I think is it Melissa Barrera, who's also in Abigail, and same lead, and that brought back Neve Campbell and stuff. Mm-hmm. And then Scream 7, which these guys did, felt like it went back to Scream 3, Scream 4, Scream 5, which aren't bad movies, but it starts to be a lot of like, do I really have to remember this? Like, is this like a Marvel thing where I have to pretend that this is all related? Or I have to care that it's all related? And it just becomes too much. But sometimes they'll, like, if they want to do Ready or Not 3 in 20 years, there's a chance that it would be fun. But it's like, don't lean on me remembering everything.
Yeah, it's gonna be like Samara Weaving and her daughter or something.
Well, here's the thing, like, the sequel came out 7 years after this one, and this one actually has the thing that I really don't like in sequels, where they flash back and show you scenes at the beginning like it's a previously on. But the reason I didn't like it is I didn't need it. I knew what the first movie was, and I remember it.
I know they do that to show, like, but I mean, I thought they only did that at the very beginning to show you like it's like continuous.
Well, I don't mind that it literally picks up from the last scene.
Is there another flashback?
There's a couple of flashbacks early in the movie, but that kind of just show you like this scene. Now I literally just rewatched it.
Because I don't like that either. I know what you mean.
It just feels, I don't know, it almost feels like cheap.
I know that was like, I remember when we were talking about the Running Man, where he was like, when he's talking to Josh Brolin, and it's like, and you know he's thinking about his wife, and then they show cut to like an image of his wife, and I'm like, dude, you didn't need to do it.
Well, that's the thing. Am I supposed to go, oh, right, he's married and he's a sick kid and that's why he's doing it? I totally forgot.
I know, yeah, really.
Like, I totally forgot, because now I
totally forgot the whole point of the movie.
Well, except that now he's taking on the entire fascist infrastructure and he'll destroy it. But I guess if he can destroy fascism and save America and the world and save his daughter, that's cool. He can add goals.
The guy, R. Christopher Murphy, he also so both of those guys wrote the sequel.
Okay.
But he also wrote the Christopher Murphy guy. He wrote on that Castle Rock TV show, which I never saw. I'm a big Stephen King fan.
I've heard good things. I haven't seen it.
I've heard good stuff about that.
And he wrote the original Wrong Turn.
Oh, okay, did he?
Which is a good time.
Oh, is that with oh God, what's her name?
Eliza Dushku.
Yes, I share. She has the same birthday as me.
Oh, okay, well, because the original Wrong Turn is a good, like, hillbilly murderer horror movie, and then they did they did a few sequels, and then they did a reboot, legacy sequel type of thing.
Yeah.
Some few years ago that also actually really worked.
Yeah.
So that's a franchise. I don't know. Whatever I thought was like, oh, they're gonna actually write some serious stuff. They're gonna get some people who know how to write movies to do these.
Yeah.
And the fact that The Wrong Turn was much better than I expected, and Ready or Not was as good as I hoped it would be.
Yeah.
So good. So these guys know what they're doing.
What I really appreciate about, especially the dialogue in this movie, was that I felt like they found a really good balance. Because it was funny, because I was talking to Jane about this yesterday, and I was trying to explain the movie to her, how I said it's a horror comedy, but it's not like silly horror comedy.
It's not commenting on itself the whole time.
Well, yeah,
nice.
They understand, like, it's self-aware and a little campy, and but they find that balance where it doesn't become like complete parody. So there's some things that are funny, like like there's little things that are funny, like when the guy Fitch is like he's on the toilet trying to figure out how to use the crossbow, and he's like on his phone, like little things like that are like little chuckles here and there, but it never. Because there's nothing I hate more when they're trying to make a horror movie like have some comedy, but like they actually they go a little too far, and then it kind of like it's like you've diffused the tension too much.
Yeah, this movie does strike a really good balance of that.
Yeah, they don't just want to diffuse the tension. Like I remember, what was the one scene, the original Scream that always makes me laugh was it Rose McGowan saying, "Oh God, I'm not going to run around like I'm in some Wes Carpenter movie."
Right.
But anyway, so I do feel like I really like that. Also, I do like how what was the one part where she talks about like fucking rich people. Like I feel like that's sort of like the theme of the whole movie. Fucking rich people. Also,
that and the very last line that she says, in-laws.
She almost. So here's the funny thing about that is what I read when I was researching this is that the directors and Samara Weaving both almost thought it was going to be too cheesy, but they did a take with it, and then they ended up it worked. But they didn't think, like when they were on set, they didn't think it was going to work. And then they shot the scene, and when they were editing it, it just landed really well, and they decided to keep it. And look, it does work.
The whole ending of the movie completely works. Like when I was watching this the first time in the theater, I was like, "This is fun. I'm having fun. It's a little repetitive. Like I get it. It's fun. I'm having a good time." And then when the ending reveals that in fact it is supernatural, there is a consequence for it. It's funny as fuck.
Yeah,
like even children that we already know suck are exploding in giant clouds of hamburger meat. And like it's fun, and it delivered. And for her to, one of my favorite movie laughs ever is when the family starts blowing up, and then she just starts laughing.
And
she's like, and it's just great.
Because
you are her.
That was her idea.
You are her. It's great.
That wasn't like scripted. That was her idea to do the laugh, and that was another thing they weren't sure. Like, is this going to work? And then they when they started putting it all together, they're like, this definitely works for laughing like that. I think that
I could see that being a concern, and I'm glad they trusted it.
Yeah, well, it's sometimes when, especially because you have a lot of special effects going on with that scene too. So there is a. I can see how when you're on set, you're like, is this gonna come together? And then when you start editing it together, you're like, oh, this actually really does work. And I think it is it is really just, it's that whole scene at the end. What I do like about it too, it sort of subverted my expectation, because what I thought was going to happen with Alex, the groom, as I thought for sure, he was going to die trying to save her.
Right.
I was not expecting, even though it's like not like shocking, but I didn't think he was going to end up betraying her. I thought this was a classic setup for him. He was going to die trying to save her, and that's how that was going to play out. And then when he betrays her, I was like, oh, that's not how I thought this was going to go. Also, originally, one of the first versions of the script, that she does die.
Oh,
but so here's an interesting bit. They pitched this. I'm not gonna try to get political here, but just a little bit. They pitched this the day after Trump won the election.
Oh, really?
And they said, we need something a little more uplifting. We don't want to have. And also they thought the idea was that this is a story about an outsider, and we kind of need to have the outsider win at the end, and that's where they went. But originally, they did like 20 different rewrites of it to get it to the point where it made sense that she was going to make it.
No, it was worth the work.
Yeah, no, it definitely was. I think that works great. Do you know why they call themselves Radio Silence?
No.
Okay, I'll tell you. This is a funny little story. It was basically an in-joke between the two, because all the early pitches to studios for their movies, like they never got calls back.
Oh,
so they just they decided to call themselves Radio Silence. But they were I guess they were just grinding it out. They were doing apparently they were doing YouTube stuff, which, as we have seen recently, grinding stuff out, doing things on YouTube
can pay off.
Very successful.
Yeah.
And they, and they eventually were able to. I think they had some feature called "The Devil's Due" that nobody saw. They said, so, but eventually it led to this movie, and they're working for. They eventually started working with it's Fox Searchlight, and just they're the more adventurous arm of Fox. Mm-hmm. And they felt like this was the right place for them to do this movie. And it's also, I guess, because they are, sort of like this more like indie adventurous. That's why when it came time for the sequel, not the jump ahead, that apparently they were just like, you guys can do whatever you want. Mm-hmm. Like they didn't have any kind of like parameters around the sequel, which was good for them.
It is good. Also, I mean, it's also unfortunately continues to be about things that are very relevant today.
Yes.
And also it's part of a genre that I'm not saying I'm the only one who enjoys this because they've made a lot of these movies. If you pull it off, it can be really satisfying, but you can do it in a lot of different ways. And that's people hunting other people.
Yeah.
So you can have, I don't know if you ever saw The Hunt.
Yes.
And not the Mads Mikkelsen one, but the
no, I know the one
with Hilary Swank and Betty Gilpin.
Yes, her. Yes.
Yeah, I think that movie is a lot of fun. Is it the world's most sophisticated? Yes, that's right. Is it the world's most sophisticated commentary on our political reality? No,
it's a bit on the nose.
It's a good time.
I know. What is the one guy? What does the one guy talk about? He identifies like one of the guys in the. It's the guy who I can't remember because I identify as whatever.
Well, it's got a great. That also has a great cast. Like the guy who rescues them in the car, and it's Mason Blair from Blue Ruin and Green Room, and he's the one that it's got that great scene where Betty Gilpin's sitting in the front seat and she's handcuffed or bound or whatever, and she just sort of turns and rotates and kicks him out of the car. Kind of stuff. That movie is I think. A similar tone, not as good, but a similar tone to this one. And then there's also one of my favorite over-the-top ridiculous movies about hunting people. What do you know what that might be?
I don't know.
Hard Target. Jean-Claude Van Damme and Cajun Uncle Wilford Brimley.
Yes, and
Yancey Butler.
Did you know? Here's a quick. I don't want to go off on this. I'll tell you real quick. There's a scene in that movie because I saw this on YouTube. Somebody talking about. There's a scene in that movie that people thought was like a special effect, but it was not. With Lance Hendrickson.
Okay.
Where his coat catches, he's wearing like a trench coat, catches on fire, and he's like yelling at the guys, and he just whips it off and whips it around. Apparently, that was not planned. It actually caught on fire, and then he started screaming at the guy. Like apparently, the guys that were his henchmen, the actors were like stunned, and then him yelling at them was like what snapped them back into like acting. Like I'm like, oh my god, that's scary. That's dedication to the craft.
Yeah, no, he's an intense man.
And also scary too.
He's an intense man. By the way, just for future reference, any digression for a John Woo story, go for it.
Sure.
But then of course, there's The Most Dangerous Game is the original, the classic,
of course,
that kind of stuff. But I think it's interesting because horror is obviously can be a lot of different things at once, and it can be a mix with other genres, and it can be commentary, and it can be all these things. And this is a really, putting aside the political part of Ready or Not, this is a really good horror comedy.
Yeah,
because it's also, I mean, it's not a comedy. If people don't like gory movies, they're not going to be up for this one.
It's not. This isn't Scary Movie,
right? But I mean, it's also, I think I'm again not really saying anything revolutionary here. One of the most perfect jewels of a horror comedy is Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah,
this is not as good as Shaun of the Dead, but it is really good. I had a really good time with it.
Is certainly like funnier. This is. I'm trying to think of what else to compare this to. Like as far as like, it's got humor, but it's not like it's not. I feel like Shaun of the Dead is comedy horror, and this is horror comedy.
That's fair.
As what I feel.
That's fair.
But this is because there's a lot of jokes in
Shaun of the Dead.
Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah, you got right on you.
Nick Frost running around with the shirt that says "Got Wood," I think.
Something like that, yeah.
Cracks me up. But this movie, one of the other things too about this movie is they don't try to. I feel like we're in an era, or at least we have been, and I don't know if we're coming out of it, where I think people felt the need, and I understand why, to like sort of humanize the villains, where it's like you really have to understand, like, you know, like a Thanos story where it was like, well, look what he's trying to do. He's actually trying to do good, you know what I mean? And I feel like this, they were like, nope, these people are assholes, and these people are doing terrible things because they're entitled. They're just doing fucked up stuff because they know they can get away with it. I mean, obviously there's a whole ritual involved with this, but they're only doing this because of their status. They're able to do this whole thing, and this reminds me. And I like the way that they lay this out like pretty early on, and you understand sort of the world you're dealing with. But it reminds me of something where they did something like this where it didn't work, which was certainly. This is the furthest thing from a horror comedy, the Nicolas Cage movie 8mm, but they kind of made that idea like that was the twist that people like. The twist, like the big reveal, was that because that's about a snuff film, and the whole idea is that you find out at the end was like these are these rich, powerful people, and they just do these fucked up things just because they can. But they made that like the reveal, and I was like, well,
duh.
I think we all kind of. It's something that I think it's whether you believe it's whether it's true or not, we all kind of feel that way anyway. So to make that the reveal is kind of like,
well, that movie is funny also because it's Joel Schumacher.
Yeah,
and Joel Schumacher has made a number of movies that have political commentary, and he's made movies that I've enjoyed, but he's made movies that have political commentary, and some of them are a little more heavy than others as far as tone, but they're also a little more heavy-handed. Like my favorite Joel Schumacher movies that are like that, I mean, Falling Down is a wild movie, and Veronica Guerin with Cate Blanchett as the Irish journalist who was murdered.
Okay.
And stuff like that. I mean, he makes good movies and he makes interesting movies, but it's not, I mean, 8mm struggles between, it's a Joel Schumacher movie who also gave us Bat Nipples and stuff. Yeah. And it's written by Andrew Kevin Walker, who wrote Seven, which is one of the darker films the studio has ever made.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I feel like you're supposed to watch that movie and go, boy, that is fucked up.
Yeah.
So it's almost like the way that the what's behind the story. You've got Nicolas Cage energy. You've got Seven energy. You've got
Joaquin Phoenix,
and you've got is it Chris Bauer as the Machine? Is that what the guy's called? The one who's in the movies. I love that actor.
Yeah.
So like, there's a lot, but that's a movie. I saw that in the theater.
Me too.
To me that's, and I didn't think it was awful or anything. I didn't like it, but if I want to watch somebody watching
movie.
well, if I want to watch movies where somebody feels awful while they're watching it, I'll just watch hardcore anyway. But with George C. Scott.
Yeah,
but I think
James Gandolfini's in that also.
Yes, he is.
He's
but
like the porn producer.
That movie is like forgotten. I'm not surprised that they didn't make 9mm. You know what I mean? Or I guess 16mm or 35mm.
Yeah.
Or they remade 8mm on IMAX. Yeah. But it's kind of a, there's not much like that's a movie like I've gone back and I would do it again. I'd watch Seven again. Yeah. I have not gone back to watch 8mm again.
I mean, and that's the thing about it is it was just like I do feel like I felt like the reveal was it was like you had a movie like Seven that had such a well thought out and good reveal, and then you watch this and you're just like, oh, so people that are rich do fucked up stuff because they can is not compelling enough for me to be like, that was great,
right? And in this movie, people agree to do fucked up stuff because that's how they get rich.
Yeah,
but they have to do fucked up stuff or they'll die. And at the end, when everybody is exploding, I can't even tell you, Scott, how the theater just lost it. Yeah. It was so much fun because, especially when Melanie Scrofano, who I love, she's Mrs. McMurray in Letterkenny, she screams and runs out of the room with her two little kids. Yeah. And then there's 3 bursts that fly back. Like, it's so much fun. And then, like you said, I did not know that was Samara Weaving's laughter was her acting choice. Yeah. I love it. I just love it.
Yeah, it's good. I'll tell you what was also interesting. The guy who, and as we always say, rule of thumb is if you have trouble pronouncing the cinematographer's last name, it's probably good guy.
Good, yeah.
His name is Brett
and stuff.
Barrett Jitzkowitz, I believe that's how you say it.
He must be good.
He must be good. He also did Scream 7. He also shot some of Stranger Things. Okay. He one of the things that they wanted to do is that they wanted to take the mansion, a lot of the ornate decor, and they wanted to make sure that they were always getting. They wanted to be able to see all of that. It was, and they also wanted to frame Grace within these spaces where she looked kind of small, where like the space was very large and she was kind of dwarfed by these huge hallways and overwhelming staircases. And it's sort of like this architecture of wealth that made her look small. And I like that. I thought that worked. I will tell you that the one thing I did find distracting in this movie, I felt that, which they did not do in the second movie, the color grading was very distracting to me. It was very almost too dark, too inky, and I know I wonder if they were trying to go for like an Edward Gorey kind of feel, maybe, like sort of like that kind of aesthetic. I'm not sure if that's what they were trying to do, but it was to the point where it was sometimes so dark and it had that sort of that green hue to it. I was like, okay, and because in some of the really dark scenes, it was like I kept noticing it so much it was actually distracting me. They didn't do that in the sequel, but that's my only real complaint about the movie, was that I was just like, oh my goodness, like, can we?
Well, it's one of my favorite kinds of movies where it knows what it is.
Yeah.
And that's not a negative thing. And it goes, we're going to kill it at this.
Yeah.
Nobody who made this movie was shocked that they didn't get, nominated for a Peabody Award or something. But it's really good. And I've said this before, and I'm sure I'll say it again. That's one of my favorite sort of Roger Ebert standards. Like, it's really good at what it sets out to do. And that's something worth praising and celebrating. And again, it's not for everybody. This movie is very gory. I have friends that like comedies and they like some horror movies and they don't like gore. And I'm like, you would love this movie. It's really fun and clever and well done and great performances and funny, but you can't handle that. It's too much. It's too wet. It's too gross.
I mean, I think, and as far as my complaint about the color grading, I will say it is consistent with what they were trying to do. I think with what they were trying to. So as much as I found it distracting, I don't feel like it's not like it was like causing any kind of like.
Well, I mean, you probably said this is distracting until it wasn't, and you got used to it.
Yeah, yeah, probably. Here's an interesting thing. Did you know that? So that particular the mansion that was used.
Is that a real?
Yeah,
mansion?
It's a real mansion. It was used in Scott Pilgrim versus the World, and also multiple X-Men movies. I guess that's where the
is it in Canada?
It is in,
because there's a number of the actors that are Canadian.
Yeah, it's Parkwood Estates in Oshawa and Casa Loma, which I don't know what's I don't
Isn't
know.
That California?
Well, Casa Loma is the play. I guess the.
Oh, okay.
It says it was in Toronto for some key
scenes.
Okay. But that was, and they also used it for the live action Beauty and the Beast movie.
Well, there you go. Another movie I haven't seen.
I think they said they also wanted people to be like, see that and like, hey, I've probably seen this before, because I'm sure people between Scott Pilgrim, X-Men, and the live action Beauty and the Beast, a lot of people have seen at least one of those movies. So they wanted people to have sort of like a recognition of this space, but not in so much a horror movie setting. Was there? Okay, so I already talked about I'm just looking at
Parkwood Estates.
We talked about the
Parkwood Estates is what it's called.
Yeah,
there you go.
And
because I asked that because the second movie has a lot of even larger sets and homes and stuff. There's also a lot of very they show a lot of, I would call them drone shots of like where the giant palatial mansion is and the golf courses and the outbuildings and all that kind of stuff. But it's all digital. Like, it's not really a drone shot, and that's fine. But the world feels bigger and in some ways more fake. Whereas this world really feels like this family has lived in this place and they've sold their soul and they've lived in this place for a long time. And, when they pull the weapons off the wall, each one of those weapons has a story and the family and all that kind of stuff. And I did also like the way that, speaking of the weapons, that Samara Weaving, when she decides like I'm in trouble and I'm going to have to fight, she really armors up like a badass. She grabs this double-barreled hunting shotgun. She gets the bandolier with the shells. She does all this stuff. And then she's like, I'm going to fuck this guy up, the one who works for them. Stevens, I think. Yeah. I'm going to fuck him up in the kitchen. But, the gun's not loaded, or the shells are dummies or something. And then she's like, oh
dummies,
no, I'm in trouble.
Yeah,
and it's just fun. It's just a good time. But then she switches to,
danger.
I'm gonna throw hot water in your face, and that works too. So
this movie, so they shot the whole thing in 26 days, and they made the movie for $6 million.
Yeah, it's little movie,
but it made almost $60 million. It was like
good. It deserved an audience,
and
I hope people saw the sequel was out and were like, I've been meaning to see that. Let me go back and see that.
Here's what's interesting about that. So, because since it came out just right before COVID, like in 2019, so it was right before COVID. Because I think it came out. I forgot what the actual. It was released in August. So yeah, less than 6 months before, or probably about 6 months.
Well, almost the only movie that almost the last movie that I would have seen in the theater
probably
was The Hunt.
Yeah.
And I told Kelly, I said, I'm really curious. I want to see it before it gets hyped up. And my wife turns to me and goes, "You could die. Don't go to the movies." And I was like, yeah, I think you're onto something there.
But what's interesting though, apparently this movie, found sort of a new life. It was released onto Netflix in November of 2024, and apparently did really well.
Oh, blew up over there. I didn't know that.
Blew up on
maybe
Netflix.
That pushed the sequel.
Maybe that's what made them decide to.
Yeah, Netflix is funny, man. They'll put on stuff that's. They're not a repository of classic film or anything, but they'll put on stuff that is from 2014 or something, and then all of a sudden it blows up. And sometimes it makes sense. Like, I'm not surprised when we all got locked down. You remember what movie exploded again? It's a fantastic movie.
What, Contagion?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But, I'm glad that people found or revisited this movie. I had a really good time watching it.
No, I love that soundtrack.
For Contagion?
Yeah, just it's like not necessarily something where when I say I love it, it's a great background noise soundtrack, or you kind of it's not like it's one of those things where it's not a real meaty soundtrack. You know what I mean? It's obviously not a.
Well, but I mean, if you have a soundtrack, you go, that's great, that works for the movie. I don't know what higher praise you need. I might not drive around and listen to it or work out to it or something. But that's Steven Soderbergh. Steven Soderbergh has amazing taste on so many levels. And I don't know. I'm glad we returned to this movie, because when I saw the sequel was coming, I was curious about it, and I really had as much fun watching this again, and I hadn't seen it in a few years. So I'm glad that you got to see it for the first time, because I think it's worth your watch.
Did you have anything else to add?
I don't think so.
I think I've said everything. So.
I do think people should see the movie Hard Target.
Oh yeah, a great mullet movie.
Oh my God,
Jean-Claude Van Damme has an excellent. I mean, that is classic mullet. If you were not alive during the era of when the mullet was at its peak, that mullet is really good. So I highly recommend for your mullet viewing pleasure, watch Hard Target with Jean-Claude Van Damme and Wilford Brimley and Lance Henriksen. Oh, and the guy that was in The Mummy, that played the Mummy. Isn't he in that? I think he's.
Yes, he's Lance Henriksen's big henchman, Arnold Vosloo.
Yes, I remember he I distinctly remember there's one scene where he sticks a shotgun inside of a car and shoots somebody's head off or whatever, and then he just makes this, he looks inside the car after he shoots, and he just makes this face ooh.
Yeah.
And I still remember that. It's I saw that movie 25 years ago.
Yeah, they're evil.
Yeah.
It's good when there are good bad guys. I mean, they're not just hunting people; they're hunting homeless people.
I know.
They're hunting people that no one will miss for money. It's gross.
That's good. Anyway, I think that's a wrap on Ready or Not, and we'll be back next week with Ready or Not 2. Here I come. And it's funny. I feel like we don't have enough movies that have the number in them anymore. Everything is a parenthetical, after the title.
Yeah, I actually can't figure out what the title of this sequel is. Is it Ready or Not 2? Ready or Not 2, Here I Come, or just Ready or Not, Here I Come? I've seen different versions of it in different places. And I don't know.
I mean, well, when I looked it up, it was Ready or Not 2, Here I Come.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Here I come, Colin.
Here I come, Colin.
I know.
I'm calling on you.
That's that after I eat Raisin Bran.
There you go. Who's calling?
Anyway, so hey, follow us on your favorite podcast platform. I mean, hopefully that's how you found us now. Or you can follow us directly at www.storypunk.com. You can also check out the Instagram page at StoryPunkPod, or check us out on Facebook for updates. And if you would like to hear us say stuff about movies in smaller portions, you can find us on Letterboxd. I am Storypunk Scott, and Drew is also on Letterboxd.
Solid Gould.
And with that, I will say, remember, story matters.